So today I'm going to talk about Santa's grottos and how can your school, your PTA, help to make the Santa's grotto just a little bit more sustainable. Now, I'm not going to be talking about anything rocket science here. I'm talking about two things: what the Santa's grotto present is and what it's packaged and wrapped in. So I'm going to link in some ideas of traders that I know of personally, that I've used or have heard good things about. I will link those in rather than listing them off here. But I want you to think about, what is the item? So for example, is the item something the child needs? Do they need this item? If they don't need it, it is just something, a nice thing, then how big does it have to be? So for example, my kids have about 7 colouring books. If all 3 of them got another in colouring book, it almost feels just a waste of those 100 pages of paper. So what about looking at getting a token sized gift, a token sized book, a travel colouring book? They haven't got to be big things. Kids are normally just pleased for having received something. Think about actually what it is, and if it's not actually essential, it's not needed, and they just want something, then, you know, is it wasteful? Is it a wasteful product? Are you just buying something for the sake of it? And if you are buying something for the sake of it, then how about making it small and having the carbon footprint of that item as minimal as possible? There are other things you could do. So you could, for example, increase the budget through fundraising, asking for donations, for example. And you could increase the budget of the Santa's present gifts, so they're not like £1-2 gifts. It could be £5 gifts, for example. And then you could actually buy some like eco-friendly books as presents, like learning about the planet, climate change. There are so many around now, possibly like 100 different books. You could buy things like nature books. I've got some great little ones that are like £3.99 from Usborne, and bulk buying from an Osborne trader, like you could probably get them for like £3 or something. So like there are really nice ways that you can buy small gifts that actually have a nature, environmental, education lesson within that gift. Or the other thing is looking at sustainably made items like sustainably wooden toys, again just tiny like stocking type size presents. Or there are people that make hair accessories out of upcycled material, and I will link some of those traders in. Then the other thing is, what is it packaged in? Well, okay, first of all, we want whatever's to be used to be recyclable at the end. And we want you guys to recycle it. So if it's going to be unwrapped in school, you need to know that the school will facilitate that recycling of all that paper. Like, I'm not going to say tons, but loads and loads of paper. If you think of every child in the school unwrapping a present. If not, ensure that parents know it is recyclable paper, so they know it can go in their recyclable waste. You don't want it to have any plastic in it. So some paper might look like paper, but when you actually like rip it, like when you rip paper, if it's got plastic in it, you will almost see the separate layers and see how they rip differently and how you can almost see that plastic. My biggest recommendation is buying a bulk roll of brown paper. Now, although these seem more expensive to buy, they are bigger. So normally when you buy wrapping paper, you might buy 2 or 5 metres, and you could get that for £1 or £2. I buy brown rolls in like 10, 20 metre rolls. So yes, it costs more money, but when you're bulk buying and bulk wrapping presents, it's a really good way of doing it, and it's completely sustainable in regards to. So when you're looking at wrapping, as well as bulk buying the brown paper, you could always ask for donations as well. Most people have wrapping paper that they've forgotten about. So what happens is they go shopping and go, oh, there's some wrapping paper, I'll buy some wrapping paper. But then when they get the Christmas box out of the loft, they actually discover that they actually have wrapping paper already from last year. So they have excess amount. So you could ask for donations of wrapping paper, and you could say that as donations of even pre-loved paper for people like myself that keep the neat bits, or almost just almost say to people, whatever you've got left over, could you, or what you've got in excess. So you don't want parents to go out and buy new paper, but you can almost use what they're not going to use, what they found in the cupboard. the other thing you could do, which is actually free as well, is ask for donations of brown paper from their parcels. I mean, I'm not an advocate for Amazon because of other ethical reasons. Please see other videos that I've done about that. But Amazon is very, very well known for having brown paper packaging in boxes. And this brown paper is brilliant for wrapping presents most of the time. So what about asking for donations of brown paper? So it's just literally given a whole new lease of life and repurposed, reused, and then the last thing we do is recycle something. Recycling is one of the last things we need to do on the waste hierarchy, but reusing and repurposing is a much better thing to do. And then it gets recycled as well, so that's fabulous. The other thing to be careful of is even if you are buying plastic-free paper and you're making sure that it is made of proper paper. So some of the really, really cheap paper, that's like really thin paper, actually is so low-grade paper that actually, although you can put it in the recycling bin, the recycling plant almost doesn't have a need for it at the end. Like there isn't people that want to buy low-grade paper. It's the same with tissue paper. Although it could be recycled, it's so thin and such low-grade quality that actually there's not a big demand for that type of paper. So you're better off not trying to get those bits of packaging. Just try and get good quality paper, which is like the traditional eco brown paper is very thick and very good quality, so it can be recycled, which I will link in a company that I use, which you may find is good as well for bulk buying. So yeah, be careful that you're not buying rubbish type of paper. And normally if it's really cheap and cheerful and if it's quite thin, then it's low grade. Tissue paper's okay. But almost tissue paper is really good for reusing. It's not very good once you put sellotape on it, because once you put sellotape on tissue paper, like you just got no chance of reusing that paper ever again, because by the time you've pulled off, or the kids at least have pulled off sellotape, the tissue paper really is just a wreck afterwards. So with tissue paper, it's kind of quite good if you're, I don't know, putting a ribbon around it or something, and then you can literally just take the paper away and reuse it next year, for example. But also be careful, because we tend to buy things because we think, oh, I don't want plastic, but then they often come in plastic wrap as well, which is just so frustrating. So just things to think about when you're buying wrapping paper. So in summary, we're looking at what is the gift for Santa, or not for Santa, from Santa's Grotto, and then how it is wrapped. The other thing to bear in mind, we'll just touch on, is if your school is already trying to be sustainable, it might already have an eco council, you might already have the school and the eco council and the children having action plans and goals that they're working towards. Now, what would be nice is to know what those were. So what I mean by this, if they are working really, really hard as a school and as a team, and the kids and the council are all working hard to reduce single-use plastic, then that doesn't stop at Christmas time. Those values don't stop and those demands don't stop. So you need to respect that as a PTA into what those goals are of the school and their council as well. So I hope it's been helpful. Please give us feedback as ever. And if you want to see any other videos about school or anything else, then please let us know. Bye for now.